In today's class, we'll see what are the various single row functions and multiple row functions. So what are single row functions? Single row functions are nothing but these are the functions wherein we can manipulate a single cell of the table. For example, let's say there is a table, right? These are, let's browse some table. And you want to make some changes on the row. So let's say you want to make it uppercase or lowercase, or you want to calculate something, right? You want to add something, or you have to concatenate few things. Let's say I want to display Argentina in all uppercase. So there is a function for that. So if you want to, let's say, concatenate two things like country name and region ID, you want to concatenate. There is a first name and last name in the employees table. So you want to generate a unique username from that, right? So probably you use some functions. So single row functions are functions which are applied on every row. Single row means every row. So if I uppercase Argentina, so all these letters would be in uppercase. Then if I use say uppercase country name, so all the rows would have a different value, right? Argentina would be in uppercase, Australia would be uppercase. So for every row there would be a corresponding result for single row functions. Multiple row functions are functions like, for example, I want to add all these values. Let's say I want or I want to find the maximum region ID. So what is the input is multiple rows, but the output is just one, right? If I want to find the maximum, so maximum is 4, right? But what is the input? Input is all the rows. So here input is multiple rows, output is 1, and single row functions, input is 1 row, 1 output, right? So this is the difference between single row and multiple row. And we will be doing these two types of functions in today's class. Okay. So what is how a function is defined? So function is basically a special kind of keyword which has some special meaning. So if you want to uppercase, so there is an upper function which takes few arguments. Arguments means what you want to uppercase or what you want to lowercase. That is called the argument. So a function can have one argument, two arguments, or in multiple number of arguments. So every function has a specific number of arguments. For example, let's do some single row functions. We have some character functions, we have some numeric functions, number functions, we have some date functions, some conversion functions we have. If let's say if you want to convert from character to numeric or numeric to character or character to date. So these are different types of functions we do have. So what are the various character functions? Character functions means the functions which are applied only on character values. Character values means like country ID is a character value, country name is a character value, region ID is basically a numeric type. So the only number functions can be applied on this particular column, right? So character functions can only be applied on character types. So what are the various character functions? Let's see. We have case manipulation, lower, upper, init, cap. If I want to display all the first names in upper, so what I'll do, upper, first name. Now let's say I want to display the last name is in lowercase. So I say lower last name from employees. Okay. And then press Control Enter. So if you see here, all the names, first names are in uppercase and all the names in last name are lowercase. And these are single row functions, means the input is a single row and output is also a single row. This is the name of the function, upper is the name of the function, and first name is the argument. So here upper and lower, both the functions have only one argument. Some functions could have two arguments also. There is another case function called initCap. InitCap actually converts the first letter of each word in a character string to uppercase. For example, if I write here initCap and here I say hello world from Dual. So if you see here, the output is the first letter of the first word is uppercase and the second letter, first letter of the second. So how it doesn't matter how many words are there, on only the first letters would be uppercase. This is called initCap. So we have three case related functions. One is upper, one is lower, and the other is initCap. So the other question is, what is dual? So dual is basically a special kind of table in any RDBMS. So we know that in RDBMS everything is in the form of tables because logically the data is stored in the form of table. So dual is a special table which does not contain any values, but it can be used to do some kind of calculations or some kind of operations. So if when I'm just want to find like what is the value of initCap when I give hello world as an argument. So hello world, is it related to any table? It's not related to a table. I just want to calculate how it works on this particular literal, right? So I don't need employees table or any other table. So I can simply write from dual. Similarly, let's say I want to find what is 34 multiplied by 56. I can write like this. So this would be the answer. So for some calculations, we use dual table, right? And if you select something from dual, let's see what is there in dual. It has just one row and one column. If you see, it's a dummy table with just one row and one column. It does not contain any value. X does not represent anything. So whatever you will do would be replaced by X. Okay. It doesn't store anything. If you make changes here, it won't store anything. So it's just a temporary or a dummy table which is used to do some calculations, right? Dual is not a user created table. Dual is a table which comes with all RDBMS. So it is already there. I did not create it. As a user, I did not create. I cannot create a table name by the name dual because it's a special kind of word. So it's a word which has a special meaning. So I cannot use this word for anything else. Okay. There are other character manipulation functions like concat, substr, length. So let's see one by one and then we'll do the examples. These are case functions that we have already seen. Then let's see what are other functions. We have concat. Concat, what it does, it concatenates two strings. So we have character literal hello and we have character literal world. It just combines two into the single character literal, right? So how it is different from what we have been doing? So we have been doing the same thing using two vertical bars. So yes, it is the same functionality, but vertical bars, that is called concatenation operator. So these two vertical bars are concatenation operators, and concat is basically a single row function, but it does the same thing. So for example, I want to concatenate first name and last name. So how would I write? Concat first name comma last name from employees. Concat. Okay, so it does the same thing what we have been doing. So my question is, let's say I want to, it takes two arguments only. So it is fixed. Init cap only takes one argument. Concat takes two arguments. The two literals which needs to be, or two character variables which needs to be merged, right? So if I want to put a space between these two names, so how can I make change in this particular statement? Okay, so there could be two ways of doing this. Where should I give space, Rani? Okay, so what I can do, I can write here concat first name comma concat space last name. So this is called from employees. So this is called nested functioning. So this is the you can use the functions inside a function. So how it is going to execute? First, it is going to execute the innermost function. Innermost is concat space with the last name. So this is going to put a space before every last name. So whatever is the output, that would be concatenated with the first name, right? So we can execute this and we'll get the result. Okay, so this is the first way of doing this. Otherwise, obviously you can do use a concatenation operator. But the question was not to use a concatenation operator. So anyway, you can use this. It was going to give you the same result. The question is, the Sujaya is asking, what is the difference between concat and vertical bars? There is absolutely no difference. The only difference is this is operator. This is an operator which can take any number of arguments. So I can, I can concatenate 5 arguments with the vertical bar. So I can write select this and let's say 3 and I can add more, right? So I can add any number of arguments here. But concatenation, concat is basically a function which takes only 2 arguments. Okay, so this is the only difference. Sometimes concat is also used. It makes your when you are writing big queries, concat makes it more readable. So that's the reason a lot of people use concat instead of vertical bars. The question is, do we use in real-time scenarios? So Jaya, whatever I'll be doing in next 2 to 3 months, definitely everything is used somewhere in your real world. Okay. Whatever we theory, we need to apply it in our applications, right? And for example, the simple, when you log into a website, the whole name comes up, right? Welcome to, let's say, welcome to Whitebox QA, and your login ID is this, right? Welcome, maybe Shilpi Jain to, welcome Shilpi to Whitebox QA. So what they are doing, they are probably behind the screen, they are writing a query like this. Select welcome concatenated by the first name and to Whitebox QA. So when you see this kind of message on the website, so it is a combination of some some static data with some dynamic data. Okay. Is this thing clear now, Sujaya? So the next one is sub-str. Sub-str is a very interesting function. What it does, it extracts a substring from a string. So sub-str is a short form of substring. So substring, probably every language has equivalent of a sub-str. What it does, it takes the first, it has, it can be used with 3 arguments, it can be used with 2 arguments. So I'll take both the forms. For example, I want to extract just the first three letters from the name. So what I'll do, I'll say select sub-str. So what from which column I want to extract? From first name I want to extract. First 3 letters. That means starting index is first. And how many letters? 3 letters I want from employees. So if you see here, only first 3 letters have been extracted, right? So let's say I want to generate a unique user ID. So I can simply extract first 3 letters of this and concatenate it with the last 3 letters. Let's say I want to some first three letters of last name I want to extract. So how would I do? 1, 3, right? And this a unique you can say collection of letters has been generated, so it can be used as a user ID, or probably you can have appended some numbers also, and then you can use it anywhere else, right? So this is a advantage of extracting sub-str. Also it can be used for some other queries. For example, let's say display the employees whose first 3, or maybe you can say second to fourth, or from second onwards, you can say last 3 characters. So I would say whose second character onwards is ing, right? So how would you write a statement like this? Select last name from employees where sub-str last name starting from second, and let's do like this. So sub-str sometimes can take 3 arguments, sometimes it takes two arguments. So two, when say it's a two, so anything after two, starting from two, and starting from two, it has to be ing. Hmm. Select. Okay. So if you see here, these are the two employees with starting from the second letter to the end of the string is ing. So this is also helpful. So there are two forms. One takes, you can give the starting index and the number of characters you want to extract. Then the second form where you just give the starting index and it will extract all the letters. So you can do the same thing in a different way. So let's say I want to extract starting from fourth letter onwards. So what I would say, sub str first name comma 4 from employees. So everything starting from the fourth character. Okay. So here it has everything starting from the fourth character to the end of the string. So some strings have less length, some strings have more length. So it depends how what is the length of the whole string is. Okay. Then we have length. Length is it is very easy to understand. Length means it just counts the number of characters for that particular uh, literal. So it has to be a character. Just remember all these functions are applicable only to characters. So characters doesn't mean only numeric because it is alphanumeric. It has to be part of a string. If anything within the quotes is a considered to be a character. So anything which is defined as a char or varchar in your table is considered to be a character, right? So length says the length of this particular say. So if I say select length first name, so it is going to print me all lengths of all the first name. Then we have in str. In str is a interesting one. What it does, it locates for this particular substring in this one, and if it finds it, it gives me the position for that string. For example, I want to find I want to find ing in the last name. And let me print last name as well. So if you see here, we don't have INGs. That's the reason it is giving me 0. And here we have ING at the fifth location. If you see here, DELLI. So I is fifth, 5 here. Then here ING is at sixth position. Here we have ING, in both the cases we have at the second position, right? So in str locates for a substring into a string. So there is a difference between substr and in str. Substr extracts the a substring and in str locates a substring. So I can write it here. Substr extracts a substring from a string and in str searches for a substring in a string. I hope these two are clear. So let's move on to the next one. We have LPAD. LPAD, what it does, it will take the column. There are three columns, three arguments for LPAD. The first column is what you want to pad. Padding means it pads a certain character to the beginning, to the left side of that particular column. So, and 10 is the maximum length you want to make. So what it does, salary is 24,000 and it is going to make it 10 digit, and it is going to pad 6 asterisks on the left side. 5 asterisks, because this already contains 5, so 5 plus 5 is 10. So it will make a string with 10 characters, and whatever are left would be padded with asterisks. For example, let's do this one. Select LPAD, and I want to LPAD let's say salary, and I want to make it 7, and the character which I want to pad is, let's say, dollar from employees. So if you see here, depending upon how many characters are there in salary. So here we have 5, so 2 were added. Here we have 4 characters, so 3 were added. Similarly, the same thing with RPAD. So it is going to pad the same towards the right side. Okay. Okay. Then we have replace. Replace is what it does. It searches for this. It already has 3 arguments. So just like LPAD and RPAD, it has 3 arguments. The first argument is the main, you can say, column on which you would be replacing. It will replace. It is search for this particular character and replace it with this string. So it is searching for J. So it has found 2J and it will replacing it with BL. So how it is done? So for example, I want to replace let's copy this itself. So I want to replace this, and I want to search for dollar and replace it with asterisk from employees. If you see here, the dollar has been replaced by asterisk. So it searches for this particular string and replace that string with this string. So it has 3 arguments. First argument, what needs to be searched. Then this is the string to be replaced, and this is to be replaced with. Okay. Then we have trim. Trim is going to remove this particular character from the string, and it does it only from the left side. So how it works? Select trim. Let's say select Hmm. Select this from dual. Okay, from. I always forget from. Okay, if you see here, the left, this is dropped. And let's see if I just put two of these. Okay, and if I put this one at the end, so it searches for this particular character in all in the whole string, and it removes that particular character from the string. If I put it in between, then it doesn't work. So it removes from the left or from the right. So it doesn't remove from between. Okay. So we will be doing a couple of exercises wherein we will be using all these single row functions. These were all character functions which works only on character values. All that means all the alphanumeric values which has been defined as character or varchar while creating your tables. Then we have some number functions which works only on numbers. We have round, trunc and mod. What does round means? As the name suggests, it rounds that particular value to the nearest number. What is the argument for this? It is 2. By default, this round can be used with one argument or with two arguments. This is a little tricky. Let me explain this. Select round. If I write here 45.78 from dual, it is 46. Why it is 46? After the decimal point, whatever the value is, this is greater than 50, right? So it is going to round to the greater number, right? To the greater integer. Okay. If I write it, let's say something less than 50. If I write here 45.34 and then if I round it, then my answer would be 45. Okay. And what about 45.50? What should be the answer? Again, it is going to be 46 because here anything less than 50 would be taken as the previous integer, and anything greater than equal to 50 would be taken as the next one. Okay. Here you are rounding to you are just rounding to the closest integer. If you are putting it in a decimal and rounding to the closest integer, we can also round it to the a certain decimal value. For example, I want to round, let's say I want to round 348 to second decimal value. So what I want uh, two decimal places after the decimal point. So I want something like 45 point something something. So it has to be two decimal places. So how would it do? Again, if you see here, this is consider the last two spaces. This is 48, right? 48 is less than 50, right? So how would it round? It is going to round the last two places and it has rounded it to 45.35. That means only it is rounded to two decimal places after the decimal point. And 8 is, since 8 is greater than 5, it is going to round to the next value. Had it been less than 5, let's say 3, then it would have rounded to 45.34. Okay. So we can round, for example, I can round it to 1 decimal place also. When rounding it to 1 decimal place, it is going to consider everything else. Again, 43 is less than 50. Then it is going to round it to 45.3. Okay. Had it been greater than 50, let's say I write it 89. Then it would round it to 45.4. Okay. Then we have truncate. So similarly, round, it rounds, truncate just drops. So if I write here, select trunk 45.78 without any second argument, it is just going to drop 78, right? So it would be just 45. Okay. It doesn't matter whether it is less than, greater than for this. So it just drops. And since I have not given any argument, it is dropping to 0th decimal place, only integer values. Now if let's say I want to truncate to 2 decimal places, right? So again it's going to drop 7. So my answer would be 45.30. Oh, 2 decimal places. Yeah, 30 is 3 only. Had it been so now here it is going to be 0.35. Okay. And you can always truncate or round to negative also. So if I write, let's say I say -1. So it is going to truncate this ones digit also. Now this is going to give me 40. Okay. Similarly, you can round also to negative places. So that means it's going to round up till 5. So 5 is considered to be in the next one. So it should be 46. Oh, it is 50. Sorry. It is 50. Yeah, it is rounding to the next one. So the next decimal place, or you can say the next tens after 4 is 5. So that's the reason it is taking 45 to 50. If I just write it to, let's say if it's 145, say 156 or 176. And now I round it to -1. What should be the answer? What should be the answer? It should be 1. 6 is, since it is greater than 5, so it should be 180. Is this clear? So if I make it 2 minus 2, so it is going to round this 7 also. Okay. And since it is more than 50, so it is going to round you to 200. Okay. So this is how round and truncate works. Then we have another method, another function which is called a mod function. So mod is basically used to find the remainder. For example, if I write mod 5 comma 2, right? So when I divide 5 by 2, what is my remainder? It is 1. So mod gives you The remainder, this is your dividend, this is your divisor, and the value which is coming up is your remainder. Okay, so these are the three numeric functions: round, truncate, and mod. Then we have some date functions. So date functions can only be used with a column which is defined as date. For example, here in employees, there was a column hire date. This is defined as date. So we can use date functions on only these types of columns. So let's see what are the various functions for date. The default, I would say, the format is, let's say if you want to find the system date. My system date is 6th of February 2013. So in Oracle specifically, I can find the system date by using sysdate command. So I would say sysdate from dual. This is going to give me the system date. And if you see the format of this date is, this is DD, this is the month, and this is year. So we call this the standard format as the DD MON RR. So this is the standard default format. I won't say standard, but default format for the dates that are stored in Oracle. Okay, you can always change the format. So for example, I can change the system date to a different format by doing like this. So I can write here to char this date. Let's say I want to show DD MON and Y. From dual. So if you see here 6th Feb, now if I have written MON in lowercase, that's the reason it is coming in lowercase, and YYY is the year. Here what does RR mean? RR means now the year is 2013, right? So the year is basically the number, the century is 21st century, the year is 13, which is less than 50, right? So if a date is showing a number, a year which is less than 50, then it is considered to be the current century. So that means if it's showing, it shows like this, right? 06 Feb 13. So the date, this means the date is 2013. If it, let's say, if the date represents like this, 05 March 89, then it represents the last century. Okay, so this represents 1989. Okay, so you have to be careful, because by default it is RR. So that doesn't mean that it is always the current century. Only if it is current century, only if it is less than 50. If it is greater than 50, then this date represents the last century. Is this clear? Okay, so right now we are in year 2013, right? So the current year is 2013, wherein the year date is less than 50. So when I'm running the application and it is showing me some date like this, 0609 45, right? So 45 is less than 50. So this means this is equivalent to 0609 2050, 2045. Okay. Now, if in today the same application displays this date 09, let's say 78. So this means it is saying 0609 1978. Okay, this is all I'm talking about in the context of today's date. Today's date means wherein date is the year is less than 50. Okay, let's say we are having this class in 2051. So my current year is 2051, or let's say 2058 or something. So this 58 is greater than 50. So 58 is greater than 50. Now if the Oracle system shows the date as 0609 45, then that date actually means 0609 1945. And if its system says the date is 0609 78, then the actual date is 0609 2078. Okay. Let's see what are the various functions that we can do on date types. So we have seen there are sysdate, and here you can get the date as well as time. I'll show you how to get the time also. Then what we can do with dates. So we can add or subtract number of days from a date. We can subtract 2 days. Subtract 2 days means, let's say I am subtracting today's date with the date 6 months back. So it is going to give me the number of days between these two dates. So any operation plus minus on a date gives me the number of days. For example, I want to know how many days an employee is working. So I have to subtract. So for how many days we have his hire date, and we know the system date, right? System date can be find out by sys date. So what I can do, I can write select sys date minus hire date from employees. Okay. So this gives you number of days, and it really doesn't look nice doing this. So what we can do, I can round this. Round, and I can write here days. Okay. So the first employee is working for so many days. So all the you can say mathematical operations will give you days. Similarly, let's say I want to find out what is the date after 100 days from today. Let's say there is a test after 20 days. So I want to find the date, right? So how would I do? Sys date plus 20 from dual. So it is going to give me days after date after 20 days. That is 26th of Feb, right? Because today is 6th of Feb. If I subtract 20 days, it's going to give me 20 days from the current date. So I can do addition and subtraction as regards the number of days. So can I add two dates? Here I am subtracting two dates. I can add and subtract days, but can I add 2 days? Can I say this date plus higher date? Then we have some other, let's say I want to, we have certain days, right? I want to find out for how many months this employee has been working, right? So how can I do that? So we can always have an approximate idea. So I can divide this by, let's say I divide it by 30. So it would give me approximately how many months he has been working, right? And now I have to make a round on the whole thing. Create. Now it will work. Okay. So for these many months, the employees have been working, right? So if I want to know the number of years, again I have to divide it by 12, right? So these are the months, then divided by 12, and you will get an approximate idea of how many years he has been working. The question is, how can we add and subtract month and year? So everybody knows, let's say I want to subtract 2 months. So 2 months is approximately how many? 30 days. We have a function also. We have a function called add months. So what I can do, let's say I want to subtract 3 months from the current system date. So what I'll do, I say add months sys date comma -3 from dual. Okay, so it's going to give me subtract 3 months from the current date. So it is giving me 6th of November 2012, right? Similarly, if I want to know add, find out what is the date after 3 months from today, then it is going to give me 3 months after this. It's giving me 6th of May 2013. Okay. If I want to add years, right? So there is no direct method for it. You have to multiply it by 12. So it's going to give me after 3 years, right? So if you want to add, let's say 12 months, so it's going to give you next year 36 months, next to next year 3 years. So you need to multiply it by 12. So how many months you want to add, right? How many years you want to add? The question is, how would you convert these number of days into months, years and days? How would you do that? First, you will divide it by 30 and find the remainder, right? Then those remainder, whatever it is, so let's say it gives you some X number of months. So then you divide the months with year 12. Then you will get the number of years, and with the remainder you will find how many days are left. So that's how you convert. So this can be your homework also. Convert the number of days into months, years and days. Okay. So we have seen that we can do operations on dates only by day. So if you want to do some operations on weeks, or so you have to divide it by 7 or 24 or whatever it is, depending upon what you want to do. But by default, plus minus is going to give you only in days. Okay. So here, if you want to find out how many weeks this particular employee has been working, you have to divide it by 7. Okay. Then there are some days functions like add months and months between. So if you want to find how many months are there between two particular dates, so you can write here. Let's say again you want to find display the number of months an employee has been working. So what you will write, select months between hire date and sys date from employee. This is hire underscore date. So if you see here, it is in negative. Negative means the first argument is an older date and the second argument is newer date. That's the reason it is giving in negative, and you can always round it. And you can find the result. Okay. And if you want to find the number of years, so you can always divide it by 12 and find the number of years the employee has been working. So it will give you an approximate idea. Then we have next day. Add months we have already seen. So plus and minus, you can add from a particular calendar date or you can subtract months. Then we have next day. For example, let's say next Tuesday, I want to find what is the date for next Tuesday. So what I'll do, find the date for next Tuesday. So I would say select next day, sys date, comma, Tuesday. From Dual. So next Tuesday is on 12th of Feb. Okay. So let's say I want to find out what will be the first what will be the date first Monday after 3 months. So instead of sys date, you would be maybe you will be writing like this. Add months plus 3, so it's going to give me a date after 3 months, and after 3 months what is going to be the next Tuesday. So it's going to be a next Tuesday after 3 months. That's going to be 7th of May. Okay, so next day will give you the particular date from this the first argument. So this date can be anything. Anuradha has a question, how to find month name or year only from date? Yes, you can always find it, Anuradha. So I can say, let's say, I want to find only month, right? So I would say to char this date, and I would say month from dual. February. Okay. Similarly, you can so you can actually write any format model here. You can use different combinations. We will be going through all those combinations from a while, in a while from now. Okay. Then we have last day. Last day will give you the last date of the month. So don't go by the day word. Actually, it gives you a date. So the last date for this month is going to be 28th Feb, right? So if I say here, select last day of the current month, which is this date. From Dua. That is 28th Feb 2013. Okay. So similarly, you can find the last date of all the months. So if you want to find the last day of previous months, how do you do that? I want to find, the question is, find the last day of previous month. Please write the query for that. Find the date for the previous month. So how can I do that? So for this I can write select add month, this date -1 from dual, right? Okay. So now I have got this date. Now I want the last date for this month. So I will just write here last date. Last date for this month, for this date. It's going to give me 31st January, right? Okay. Then we have round and trunk. So round and trunk, here they work little differently. So we know that months between just subtracts and give the result. Add month will add the next day, would give you the next day for that particular day. Last day would give you the last day of that particular month. Then we have round and truncate. Round and truncate works with two options, month and year. So let us try to understand what this means. Let's assume the current date is 25th of July 2003, right? So if you round it by month, right? So month is here July, right? July is 7th month, right? Which is more than 6. If it is more than 6, then it is going to round by the, month is July and the date is 25th. If you are rounding it by month, then it is going to consider the date. If it is rounding by year, it is going to consider the month. So if you are rounding by month, what is the date? 25, which is greater than 15, right? We have, if you have 31 days, approximately the half of this is 15, right? So if the date is greater than 15, it's going to take you to the first of the next month. If you're rounding it by year, then it considers the month, which is 7th, and it is going to round, take you to the next year. That's the reason it is giving you 1st Jan 2004. Similarly, if you want to truncate just drops, right? So if you truncate 25th of July, so it will just truncate all the dates in the current month and it will give you 1st July 2003. If you truncate for the year, it will just drop this and it will give you the first date of that particular year. Okay. So let's try to do some questions on this. For example, I want to find the let's say I want to find the first day of last month. How can I do that? Again, two queries would be required. First, we have to find the last month, and then we have to find the first day. Okay. So, for how would you find the last month? Select add months, sys date, comma -1 from dual. Then I have to find the first day. So this is going to give me the last month. First day is going to means I need to truncate, right? I need to truncate it by month. So it is going to give me 1st Jan 2013. Okay. So this is the first day of the last month. Now similarly I can find the first day of 6 months later. So let's say the salary of every employee is processed in like after let's say after 6 months you are giving some bonus or something. So I want to find out maybe you can say the question is, let me just put it into some real scenario question. Let's assume for every employee some bonus is to be given after let's say 36 months of service, right? Or maybe 12 months of service. Okay. So I want to find the particular date, right? So it needs to be given on the first day of the 12th month, right? So how would I find? Select. First I would have to find what are the 12 months. What is the date after 12 months of the higher date? So I would say add months higher date, and I need to add 12 here from employee. And once the hire date, it gives me that after 12 months, I have to find the first day of that month. So I would say trunk this. Okay, so this is going to give me the first day after 1 year. So let me print the hire date also. So this was the hire date, and after the completion of 1 year, it is going to be 2004. So the bonus is going to be given, it should have been given in this particular, on this particular date, right? Similarly, you can give round also. So round, if you don't want to give in that particular month, you want to give in the next month. So I would say round. But round actually takes care of the hire date. So if he is hired before 15th, then it would be the same month. If it is he is hired after 15, then it is going to be the next month. Okay, we can see here. Okay. So select, let's say round, and round to this date to month from dual. So this date is 6th of February 2013, right? So since it is 6, which is less than 15, so it is going to round me to the first day of this month only. So it is going to be 1st February. So let us try to run this. It is 1st February. Had it been, let me put another date here. Let's say this is 22nd Feb 13, right? And now I want to round it. Since it is 22nd Feb, it is going to round me to the first day of the next month, which is 1st March. Okay. 21st September 2005 is showing as 21st September 2006. Here I am finding the first month. Now I want to round. I want to round it by, let's say, I want to round it by month. First, let me calculate this and then I'll do the rounding. And then round, same thing. And round it by month. Hmm. Okay. So here it is 17th of June, which is greater than 15. So that is the reason it is showing me 1st of July. Again, this is 21st, so next month. This is 13th of January. So this is not taking me to the previous month. It is the same month. This is 3rd, again the same month. This is 5th, again the same month. Right? So round takes you to the same month if it is less than 15. It takes you to the next month if it is less than, if it is greater than 15. Okay, so then we have some kind of conversions. For example, like there are some implicit conversions, there are some explicit conversion. Implicit conversion means where Oracle automatically converts from one form to another. For example, I'll show you implicit conversion. Implicit conversion. For example, if implicit is automatic conversion. Automatic conversion by Oracle. Let's say select, I'm writing some name, and let's say I'm appending here 1000 from dual. Okay. Now this is a char type and this is a number type. And concatenation works only on char types. So Oracle what does? It does implicit conversion from number to char. See, it automatically converts this into a character and will append this to this particular character, literal. Say run this, it automatically converts it and then appends it, right? But let's say I want to, there is a, this thing, let's say I'm typing this like this. So what would be my answer? What should be the answer? Number 2 char is implicit conversion. Automatically it does. But char to number plus is an operator which works only on numbers. Let's try to run this. How it will happen. It is going to give you, this is also like it is going to give you 110. Automatically it says since this is a plus operator which is works on numbers, it would convert this into a number. So this is again an implicit conversion. Here this is doing conversion from char to number. Okay. These two conversions are implicit. Then let's say I want to convert from let's say char to date. I'm writing select. I'm writing some date here. Let's say 26 Feb 13, and I'm adding some days here from dual. So let's see now what happens. This is going to give me an error saying invalid number because it does not understand that this is basically a character type or it is a date type. So it does not automatically convert characters to dates, right? This is called, and to convert this character to date, I need to write here to date. When I write here to date, then it becomes date and it can do operations there. Now it works, right? So this is called explicit conversion. Explicit conversion where you have to explicitly say what to convert. So what we are converting? So explicit means char to date is an explicit conversion. Okay. So we have certain functions like to date. It converts char to date. Then we have to number. It converts char to number. Then we have to char, and it can convert date to char or number to char. Okay, so these are the three functions which we will be using very frequently. Okay. So these are implicit date conversions: varchar or char to number, char to date, number to char, and date to char. So these are implicit. So we don't need to use any functions for these conversions. But for all other conversions, we need to use those functions. Okay. So red means it cannot be converted. Black means it can be converted. So there is a number model also, just like date format model. There is a number format, char format model also. and wherein we can actually describe a numeric number to a form. For example, let's say I want to display the salary as a decimal point. So how I can do that? So I need to convert it to a char. So it is a number to char. So I would write here to char and salary. Let's say I want to display it in this form 999 comma from employees. Okay. So it is displaying the salary in this format. So it is 0 represents 0 after the decimal point, and this comma can be used to separate thousands, and dollar can be appended here. Instead of dollar, if I can put L also, so L symbolizes the local currency symbol. So here, since we are in US, by default Oracle installs with dollar, but you can always change the how to display the currency. It can be anything if you want. Okay, so these things can be done using to-char function. So you can display, since it is a numeric type, as a character type, and display it in any format you want. If you don't want comma, you can just omit comma. If you want to display the decimal points also, so like after, if in some salary, if there are numbers after decimal point instead of 00, you can use that. If there is any salary with some, yeah. So we have 83. So it is going to display 83. If I just put 00, then 83 will be represented by 00 only. It won't represent 83. So 31st would be still 83. It should be 00. Manju has a question. What is the difference between varchar and char data type? This is a very good question, and sometimes it is asked in interviews also. So varchar is fixed, is variable data type, and char is fixed data type. What does it mean? When I write here varchar, let's say I write here name as varchar 10, and I store a name. Let's say I store a value hello. So how much hello is taking? Hello is taking 5 bytes. So it in actual also, like when it is storing on the disk, then also it is going to take only 5 bytes. Only 5 bytes are taken. If I define this, let's say I say name char 10, and then I save hello. Even if it's taking 5 bytes, the actual storage would be 10 bytes. So no matter what you store in char, it is fixed. It is always going to take 10 bytes. So this is not very efficient way of it, because it takes a lot of space. There are so many spaces which are unused, right? That's the reason most of the time we use varchar instead of char. Char is generally used for fixed. For example, let's say you want to store SSN. So SSN is an 8 plus, if you take 2 for hyphens, so it is going to be 10 all the time. So for that purpose, you can take use char. Otherwise, we should use varchar. The next question is, what is the difference between varchar and varchar2? SQL was developed in 1970s. When it was early developed, it was varchar. So varchar is a different way of storage. It is a data type which stores used to store character data types. But when the standards changed, they introduced varchar 2. It is basically an advancement on varchar, but the usage of varchars was deprecated. But there were some programs which were using varchar also. So if you create a column name with varchar, it is definitely going to take, but internally it's going to store in a varchar2 type. So varchar2 signifies the the character type in the advanced SQL, which came, which was I think in 1990s, varchar2 was introduced. So how physically these two store is different, but nowadays, like for last 20 years, varchar2 has been in use rather than varchar. Okay, so these are various formats, like if you want to display in YYYY, so this YYYY means it includes the century also. So whatever it is whether it is 1875 or whatever it is. Then we have year. Year is going to be in words. Means 2-digit value for the month. Month means the month is in words. MON, the short form. Lowercase MON, the 3-letter abbreviation in short form. DY means day of the week. Day means like you spell it the whole day. Thursday, THURSDAY. DD is numeric day of the month. So you can put any combination of this into your format model. So if you are, let's say, if you want to format the current system date, so you can write here to char and this date, and you can choose any format. Let's say I write DD MONTH YYY, and you can actually add some other words also here inside this. And if you want to display hours and minutes, that also you can do. So you can say HH. For minutes it is MI, and for seconds it is SS from doer. So this is 6, and if you want to add TH also, so that you can add. So it is 6th of February 2013, and this is the timings, hours, minutes and seconds. Okay. So you can eliminate one, you can you can just pick a day, you can add a day also, depending on how you want to display. Okay. So we have seen this toChar, and you can give any name to this, and you can use any format model. toChar can be used with numbers, as we have seen. This represents a number. Forces a 0 to be displayed. I don't know why it was not displaying 0, but it needs to display 0 if I put it after decimal point. Dollar is used if it places in front. L means local currency. Dot and comma prints the 1000 indicator. So you can convert a salary or some sort of income or anything, some amount into any of these formats using these formats. Okay, so see here it gives you 0, 0. Okay. Then we have a date. If you want to convert a character type into date, so like I showed you, this needs to put in converted into date, because if I just write this date into single quotes, it doesn't understand that it is a date, right? It is expecting a numeric type here. So it needs to be converted into date so that this is can be considered as the number of days to be added to this particular date. Then RR rate format we have already seen. So if your current century is between 0 to 49, then this represents the current. Otherwise, if it is greater than it, then it represents the previous century. And if your current century is between this, then this one represents the current, and less than, greater than this returns the this return is in the current century after the current. Yeah, this represents the previous one. So since we won't be living and working in 51, so just consider the 2013 only. So for 2013, if it is less than 13, that means it is 2013. If it is more than 49, let's say 79 or 78, then it is previous century. Okay. And you can also do relational comparison operators also. So if I want to find, let's say the question is, find all the employees who were hired in, let's say, last 18 months. How would you do that? To answer these kind of questions, you need to split the query into two parts. First, we have to find the date which was there in 18 months back, right? So how can we find? Select, add month, this date minus 18, right? From employees or dual, you can write anything. Now I want to find all the employees who were hired in last 6 months. So that means their hire date. So I want all employees, let's say employee ID, comma, hire date, where hire date is greater than equal to this particular date, right? So this date is going to give you the date 18 months back. So whatever the hire date is greater than that, who it's going are going to be part of this query, right? So let's run this. So there are none of the employees who were hired in last 18 months. So let's make it 24 or 36. No, last 3 years also there were no hiring. Okay, so let's make it 7 years back, right? 6 years back. Okay. So there were few hires in 6 years back. So what 6 years back? So I'm talking about February 2007. So anything which is greater than equal to February 2007, these employees were hired after 2007. Okay. Then we have seen we can combine two single row functions. For example, here we are combining upper concat sub str. So how this is going to be executed? The innermost would be executed first. For example, here from last name, starting from the first letter, 8 characters would be picked. At the most 8. So if it is less than 8, then whatever number of characters are there, and then it would be whatever is the result would be concatenated with the US, and then it would be displayed in upper. So you can use multiple functions in one row, and this is called nesting of functions. Then there are few other functions to deal with the null values in the table. For example, as we saw in the last class, when I try to find, let's say I'm find the commission on employees. So employee salary. So we have commission person. So let's say we have select commission percent multiply by salary. Right. So this is the commission amount. From employees. So if you see here, for all these people, since the commission was not available, when I did this operation multiply by salary, it gave me null amount only. But assuming, let's say, the commission is not available, means the employee is not getting the commission. That means I have to replace this by 0. So what I'll do, I would use a function called NVL. NVL is a short form of null value, and it will say if this argument is null, then replace it by 0. So what I am doing, I am replacing this by 0, and let's now try to run this query. Now it says the amount is 0. That means this is not getting any commission. Okay. So it is really let's say I want to find what is the total salary after the commission. So I can add salary also here, and I can name this as total salary. So this is going to display me the total salary after the commission. So what does NVL do? NVL, there are two arguments to NVL. If this is not null, then it is going to be the same. If it is null, then it is going to be replaced it by whatever the value of the second argument. Let's say I want to give, if the commission percent is not 0, I want to give that employee the commission percent as, let's say, 0.5. Okay. So give employees commission percent as 0.5 if it is not available. So let me add commission percent NVL commission percent, and how much commission percent I want to give? 0.5 from employees. See here. So for all those employees whose commission was not provided, we replace this by 0.5%. Okay. And those who already had, it was not changed. This is NVL. With the use of NVL, we can actually do some operations on these values. So we will see, like we will be doing some group functions also, and there actually it would be very useful how to use NVL. Okay. Moving on to the next next function. This is NVL2, right? NVL takes two arguments, expression 1 and expression 2. Expression 1, it checks for expression 1 value. If it is not null, it doesn't make any change. If it is null, it replaces it by expression 2. NVL2 gives you two choices. If it says, if it is not null, then use expression 2. If it is null, then use expression 3. So, for example, here, let's say, if the commission percent is, let's say, null, then I want to give the commission amount as 1000. Otherwise, I want to give it as 500. So, how can I write this? The condition is if the commission percent is unavailable, then say, let's say, some amount is equal to 500, else it is 1000. Okay, so how would I write? Select NVL2, again commission percent. If it is not null, then 1000, and if it is null, then 500. So it gives you two choices. Here, if it is null, then only it is 0.5, right? If it is not null, then this value is retained. If you want to change that value also, so if it is, so we can put this as an amount. From dual, from employees. So for this, the value is null. So that's the reason the amount is 500. And let's say, see here, for these values are not null. So the amount is 1000. Okay. So NVL2 gives you more flexibility as compared to NVL. Now there is another method function which is called nullif. Nullif compares two values. Nullif compares two values and checks whether they are equal or not. So it compares expression 1 with expression 2, and if they are equal, then it gives you null. If they are not equal, then it gives you the first expression. For example, NVL we have seen. NVL2 here, this is an example for NVL2. Like if commission is percent is not null, then sal plus com is given. If you see here, for these three rows, it is not null. So sal plus com is the income. Otherwise, only salary is the income, right? Then null if compares two expressions. Here their two expressions are length of first name and last name. If you see here, there are two columns. This first column represents the length of the first name. Here it is 6, 5, 3, 3, whatever it is, and there is expression 2, which is the length of the last name. And I am passing these two expressions in this null if. Since 6 and 4 are not equal, so result is the first argument, which is 6. Here if you see 5 and 5 are equal. So the return argument is null. Okay. So these two null if is actually used to compare two, two values. Okay. And we can do some examples also for this. Let's say that, okay. So let's make two columns. Select salary and salary plus commission. So commission amount is calculated as commission percent multiplied by salary. And I want to include null values as 0. So what I'll do here, NBL 0. And let's see what it gives. Okay. So here, if this is the say base salary, and this is your added or say gross salary or net salary. Now I want to compare these two columns, right? So how can I do that? I can use this in null if function. So I would just add null if and I'll compare these two. And here I would say, so this would be my third column. So I'm just adding this third column. Okay, and let us run this. Okay, so here if you see these two columns are same, so the null if returns null. When these two columns are different, here if you see these two columns are different, right? Because commission percent was not null. So it is showing you the first expression, which is salary. So null if helps you in comparison of two values. For example, you can use null if in where clause also. So you can write here, let's say I want to find whether, let me think of some example. So let's say I want to find all employees who work in department 10. Let's say. So the one way is like where department is equal to 10, or let's say, yeah, or you can write here, say, or you can write the same thing as select employees, employee ID, department ID from employees where null if department ID, comma 10 is equal to is null. So there is no equal to null, so we have to use is null. So there are two values here because 178 does not have any department. Then and again it actually boils down to null, and the other one is 10. So either it is not available or it is 10. Okay, so these this way it can be done. So here it is was very simple, department ID. Sometimes it is this column which I'm comparing is basically it's a derived column. So derived column means maybe you are adding something or you are calculating something with and you are comparing it with some value. Then you can do things like that. Okay. Moving on, we have another function called coalesce function. So we have seen NVL gives us one option, like if it is not null, then commission person, if it is null, it gives you one option. NVL2 gives you two options. If it is not null, it gives you 1000. And if it is null, it gives you 500. Then we have coalesce. Coalesce gives you multiple options. Coalesce gives you, for example, I cannot demonstrate coalesce here because we don't have any two null. For example, let's say there are two addresses. An employee has address 1, address 2, and address 3. Let's say this is his primary address, this is secondary, and this is an optional address, right? So if this is available, then use this as the mailing address. If this is not available, then use address 2 as the mailing address. Otherwise, use address 3 as the mailing address. So what I can do, how can I write this statement? So I can write here, select coalesce address 1, comma, address 2, comma, address 3. And this will be your mailing address. So whichever first would be a null value that would be used from the left side, from let's say some table address or something. Okay. So here if address 1 is available for some person, then mailing address would be address 1. Otherwise the mailing address would be address 2 if it is not null. If address 2 is also null, then address 3 would be used. And if it address 3 is also null, then definitely the mailing address would be null. You can always add more arguments here. It is not restricted to 3 values. It can be more than 3. Okay, the question is if all the addresses are provided. I always said if first address is there, then it will not go to the second address, right? Because this is your primary address. First expression has always given the importance. If it is not null, then only second expression is evaluated. If this is also null, then third expression is evaluated. Let us try to do this with some null values here. Say select coalesce commission person manager ID, and let's say NA, and some column name from employees, and let's write here commission person and manager ID. Okay, this is. Okay. Here if you see commission percent is all null, manager ID is also null. That is the reason the column name is 0. Here commission is null but manager ID 100. So the value comes out to be 100. If there is any commission percent, then the column value would be the first non-null value. That means if it is not null, then column name would be commission percent itself. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Then we have if then else logic, case and decode. So what happens? Let's say that for people in departments, so my condition is like this. For employees in department number 10, I want to give increment as $100. For let's say 50, I want $200. And for the people in department number 90, I have $500, right? So how can I do this? Is a multiple, you can say if then else statement. So how do you incorporate that in SQL? So we have a statement called case then. So I can write select case department ID, then 10, then 100, comma, then 50, then 200, then when 90, then 500. Otherwise, let's say I want to give 50, right? So here I can write else 50. Okay, and then I have to end. Right here end, and then you can give some name, some alias. Let's say increment from employees, and you can write here department ID also. Case department ID. No, there is no comma. Okay, so you see here for 90 we have 500. 60 comes with in else, so we have 50. For 100 again it is comes in else, so we have 50. 30 also comes in else. For 50 we have 200. And do we have any 90 department? Okay, we don't have any 90 department. Okay, yeah, we do have 90 departments. So for 90 we have 500. So this kind of multiple options we can do using case else. Another thing I can do here, in case else, we can do not only for equality, I can also use it for greater than and less than conditions. For example, I can write here select case, let's say for salary greater than, let's say salary less than 4,000, case when salary less than 4,000, then let's say I want to give increment 100. When salary between 4,000 and 5,000, then 200. Else, let's say 500, and end from employees, and then you can run this. And here you can write salary also. So here if you see, the salary is greater, so it comes in the else part. Where salary is less than 4,000, let's try to find something salary less than 4,000. Here the salary is less than 4,000, so my increment is 100. And here actually I should have given some alias. Okay. So for greater than 5,000, it is 500. So between 4,000 and 5,000, it is 200. And less than 4,000, it is 100. So you can give some relational condition also in case. So we have another function called decode, which does the same thing as case, but it's a function rather than an expression. So the same thing I can write as select decode department ID, comma decode. So here you would be writing, let's say I want department ID, comma 10. If it is 10, then 100. If it is, let's say 30, then it is 200. If it is 40, then 300. If it is 50, then 500. Else it is 600. Okay. So, and then you can give some value, name or alias from employees. So it's exactly the same function, same you can say result, but with a different function name. Okay, so if it does not belong to 10 to 50 department, then the increment is 600. If it's 30, it is 200, right? So a case is more flexible, because in case we can write expressions like this also, but these expressions are not allowed in decode. So decode actually assumes only column IDs. Okay. So this is all what we were doing with single row functions. So as we know that single row functions, they are being applied on single rows, and one row is an input and one row is an output, right? In multiple row functions, multiple rows are input and there is one single output. For example, let's say I want to find the maximum salary of an employee, right? Find the maximum of all the salaries. So how can I do that? So I have to consider salaries of all the employees. So what is my input? Input is multiple rows, more than one row. So I would say select max salary from employees. And let me run this. So the maximum salary is 34,560. So max is basically a group function. So there are a couple of group functions. Just like max, we have min and these are the various group functions. We have average, count, max, min, standard deviation, sum, variance. So you will be using average, count, max, min, sum very frequently. For example, here let's say I want to count how many rows are there, right? So how can I do that? Select count star from employees. So if I write here select count star from employees, it's going to give me total number of rows. Okay. Now let's say I here count star also it is actually counting all the rows in the employees irrespective of whether they have null values or not. Let's say I want to find all the employees, count all the employees who are getting commission. So I want to count only non-null rows of commission person. So how can I do that? I would say select count commission percent from employees. So now it gives me 35. So 35 means only non-null rows. Only count star includes null values. Otherwise, all the other group functions, they ignore null values. All group functions except count star ignore null values. Okay. So let's say I want to find the average salary of all the employees. So I would use instead of max, I would use average, right? And it's going to give me the average. Okay, so you can put a round or something like that. Now let's say I want to find the maximum salaries in each department. So what I am doing is out of the total employees, I am dividing into groups and each group is basically the department, right? So I'm dividing the whole number of like 107 employees into departments and then I want to find the maximum of each department. So this can be done using group by clause. So how would I say? Select max salary from employees, group by department ID. And I can also print the department ID here. So what is this doing? It is finding maximum salary of employees in each department. Okay, so in department 100, let's say there are 5 employees. I don't know how many employees are there. And the maximum salary is this. If I want to find the number of employees in that department, so I can write here count star, and I can give this as an alias number of employees. So in department number ID 100, there are 6 employees and the maximum salary is 12,000. Then 30, we have again 6 employees. Then the department which does not have any ID, the maximum is this, and so on and so forth. So you can group the functions. So this is again the group function. Maximum is again a group function, and group by the particular department, or you group by any column. Okay. So here, let's say, okay. Here, let's say I just want to find the maximum salaries of department, let's say 100, and maybe departments which are greater than 50. So instead of where clause, I am putting a condition on the groups, not on the rows. So what I have to do, if I want to put a condition on groups, right? So I am putting a condition on the department ID, which is the group, right? Then we can use where. We need to use, it's not like that we cannot use, but we can't use this on like maximum salary or something. We need to use having clause. So here I can write here having department ID greater than 50. So only those departments are selected. And in those departments, let's say I can put another condition like having maximum salary greater than, let's say, 20,000. So this is the condition on the group, right? Maximum salary is a group. So this is going to extract. So this is your table now. Now you are putting a condition on this column. So how many rows would be retrieved? So there would be only one row which satisfies this condition, right? So only there is one row which satisfies this, and that is department number 90. Okay. So to put a condition on the group, we use having clause, right? So in the same statement, let's say I say minimum salary instead of max, let's do minimum. And here let's say minimum salary greater than 5,000. So let's see, is there any department whose minimum salary is greater than 5,000? Yeah, so there are so many departments with minimum salary greater than 5,000. Okay. Here we can always, let's say I want only those employees who are working under some manager. Let's say their manager, or maybe some higher date. So I can say where higher date is greater than this date minus 72, right? So what I am doing where clause, using where clause and having clause both. So where clause restricts the number of rows. So it is a condition on the rows. So how this query is going to be executed? First, it would restrict all the employees which satisfies this condition, right? So let's say there are 20 employees. Out of those 20 employees, then it is going to create the group and do the rest of the operations. So let us run this. It is invalid where is there anything wrong with this clause? Oh, okay. Comma minus 72. Okay. So what it did, first it reduced the employees according to this condition, and whatever the those employees, then they put conditions. So there were only 3 departments, employees belonging to these 3 departments, and out of which 12 belonged to 80 department, and it found the minimum salary for all these, right? So we can combine the where clause and having clause also, but just keep in mind where clause puts restriction on the rows and having clause puts restriction on the groups. Okay. Indu says, what is the difference between group by and order by? Order by is used to sort. Let's say I want to sort it. Here I have 3 rows. Now I want to sort it on minimum salary. Here it is unsorted. See, it is random. So I can say order by min salary. So it is going to put this into order. Now see, it is in ascending order. So group by divides the whole the big group, a table, into various groups depending upon what column you choose to divide, right? Here I am choosing department ID, and order by is used to sort the rows. So once they are grouped, how to sort on them, it is provided by the clause order by. Order by should be always be your last clause in the statement. Group by and having clause are always applies to group functions. If group functions are there, then only you can use group by and having.